Okay, so let's dive into a really powerful and honestly a pretty counterintuitive strategy for completely flipping a power dynamic on its head. It's this Machiavellian move that has almost nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with what you don't.
You know that feeling, right? When a colleague or maybe your boss or even a friend just hits you with some unexpected question or an accusation, you feel that jolt, that immediate, overwhelming urge to start explaining yourself, to justify what you did. We have all been there.
But what if I told you that that very natural instinct, that rush to defend yourself, is actually a huge mistake? What if it's a carefully laid trap that you are willingly walking right into, one that makes you give up your power instantly?
To really get why this happens, we need to look at what's actually going on in that moment. It's a social dynamic I like to call the defendant's trap.
See, the second someone puts you on the spot, the roles are set. It's instant. It's automatic. No one agrees to it. It just happens. They become the judge, the prosecutor, and the jury. And you, well, you've just been cast as the defendant. And this, right here, is where that trap snaps shut. The moment you start playing the part of the defendant, you've already started to lose. Which brings us to the absolute core of the problem. Explaining is submitting. So, what is the defendant role exactly? Well, it's that unspoken agreement where you feel like you owe them an explanation. That feeling, that compulsion, it basically signals that they have authority over you, that they have the right to judge you. You've just handed them the gavel without even realizing it.
This is the key idea, the maxim at the very heart of this whole strategy. It's blunt, it's direct, and it is so incredibly insightful. The one who explains is the one who submits. Just let that sink in for a second.
Every word of your defense, it doesn't matter how logical or true it is, it just reinforces the framework they've created. You're basically saying, yep, your question is valid. Yes, you have the right to demand this from me. You're not just in their courtroom anymore. You're playing their game by their rules on their home turf.
And this slide just lays it all out crystal clear. Look at the contrast. On one side, you've got the defendant. They're reactive, they're explaining, they're practically leaking power. But on the other side, you have the sovereign, observing, silent, totally in control. They aren't giving up power, they're holding on to it. So the real question is, how do you become the sovereign?
Well, you do it by using a very specific, very powerful strategy. It's a gambit, and it's called sovereign silence. Now, this is not about being passive or weak. No way. It's the complete opposite. Sovereign silence is an active, strategic choice to refuse the role they've tried to give you. It's using silence not as an absence of words, but as a weapon to control the entire interaction.
Okay, so here's exactly how to pull it off. Step 1, recognize the trap. You feel that defensive urge kicking in? That's your alarm bell. The trap is set. Step 2, resist. And listen, this is the hardest part. Your gut is going to scream at you to explain. You have to fight it. Then, step 3 is the silence itself. Hold their eye contact, stay calm, just let that silence hang in the air. It's going to feel uncomfortable, sure, but that pressure is now on them, not you. And finally, step 4, redirect. After that powerful pause, you shift the whole burden back to them with a simple question. Something like, what exactly do you mean by that? Or, why do you ask? And just like that, now they're the one who has to start explaining.
And when you do this correctly, believe me, the results are immediate. They're dramatic. You don't just neutralize the situation, you completely flip the entire power dynamic.
You know, people are just incredibly uncomfortable with vacuums, especially in a conversation. Your calculated silence creates this void that they will feel an overwhelming need to fill. They were expecting you to talk. When you don't, they're left holding this conversational hot potato. They start to ramble, to justify their own question, and boom. Just like that, they're the ones explaining. They've become the defendant.
All right, so let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here. First, always remember that defending yourself automatically puts you in a weaker subordinate position. Second, you have to see silence not as weakness, but as an active, powerful tool for holding on to control. And finally, your goal isn't to win their little game. It's to refuse to even play the role of the defendant in the first place.
Look, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's a tool you can actually use. So the next time you feel that pressure, that urge to justify yourself, I want you to remember the sovereign silence. Are you going to fall into the defendant's trap, or are you going to hold the frame? That choice determines who really holds the power.